Welcome to Opposites Distract. I'm Jared.
I'm Bo.
Very special episode. It's a best of episode. Clips you haven't seen.
Nor heard of, in fact.
But what if they're not?
Yeah,
No, they're not.
These aren't new. Maybe you had.
And they don't even exist. No, they do. We haven't even seen.
I mean, they might have.
And we can't wait for you to see this episode. Check it out. We'd get those just to make fun of them.
Yeah.
But this, so if you want to do that, High Solos would be one.
Yeah.
That you can really
You
make
could
fun of
just
and just
start with
hate
that
watch.
one. Because I don't know if there's going to be another one on the list for Denzel. If you're trying to do Denzel horrible movies, because I'm hard pressed to think of one. I mean, there's a few that didn't do great, but like you got some of the best ever with like Man on Fire.
Let's do your top three then.
Oh,
3 to 1.
Oh, okay. Well, you're number one. Number three, maybe American Gangster.
That's a good one. We might have the same top three.
Well, okay.
All right, because I was going to say American Gangster for number 3. A true story, and then Frank Lucas is from North Carolina.
From Greensboro.
Greensboro. They said Greensboro, North Carolina, thing. But that's just such a
Insane.
done movie. My second favorite, and it was just because of, it was like Denzel to me just as a total bad A. That's short for ASS.
Close your ears,
Don't tell
everyone.
my mom.
No, is Equalizer. I love the franchise. 2 is a little weak. 3 is great. 1 is the best. The Equalizer movies, it's Denzel. He's a former CIA type of operative. He's a hired assassin. He's retired. And then what's the girl's? Oh, she's such a good actress. Chloe. Anyway, she damsel in distress, and he gets revenge. And there's no one gets revenge better than Denzel. And I don't know. I just love the movie. Equalizer number 2 for me.
Inside Man, number 2
Okay.
for me. Yeah, Inside Man. Shout out to Spike Lee, because we're not hating on it because we don't like you. We're hating because you put a piece of shit out. And
Right.
like,
He probably hates it now.
Well, that'd be the hardest thing, dude. You make something that you put so much time, effort, energy, 3 years of your life, and then it's like, not even well received, but just terrible. And your final product's like, oh, they got to be shaking their head. Like, they
What
can't
happened?
think that's good.
No. And I think they've been around long enough that when it was an August release, they usually dump the bad movies at the end of August.
They can.
Beginning of August, maybe.
Why do all my movies come out right around mid-August?
Oops.
And my shows. What the heck?
Uh-oh.
We circle back to Denzel, number 1. Denzel, number 1.
Man on Fire.
Man on Fire.
And I mean, it's just,
There is but one.
and it's it's a revenge movie, and he's protecting, a young girl and had been
Dakota
kidnapped.
Fanning. Yeah.
Dakota
And,
Fanning.
it was my favorite movie for the longest time, and I haven't watched it in almost 5 years because I had a little girl. And I cannot bring myself to watch that movie because I'm already like, I wasn't that emotionally available before having kids. Now I'm like, if I have a thought or hear a song that reminds me of my girls, it's like, whoa, which is great on set when it's like, we need you to cry. I'm like, done, easy.
Got it.
But before it was a little more difficult, but I can't bring myself to watch that movie because I know I would just be wrecked.
Predator Killer of Killers, incredible. I'm assuming you haven't yet seen it.
Not yet. I'm going to see it
just yet.
Yeah.
Man, it's so good. If you're a Predator fan, if you're a fan of the franchise, then you got to check it out. Also, if you were lucky enough to see the previous film, Predator Prey, by director Dan Trachtenberg, he's obviously been signed up to do this movie as well, this animated movie. And I believe there's another one that's on IMDb already announced, Predator Badlands, which will be coming out maybe next year. I'm not sure what the release date is. So I guess he has a trio of films. But this one is quite exciting for the fans of the Predator franchise because it kind of taps into Predator characters over the course of human history. So it shows that whilst we thought that the Predator we've engaged with, with Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day, fighting through the jungle, or the last film which showed a Native American character, obviously from quite a few years ago, engaging with a Predator character. This one shows 3 very starkly different periods of history. So you have a Viking period around 800 AD. Then you have the Japanese shogunate era, and then you also have World War I as well. So it's really exciting. The fans have been calling for this kind of like almost prequel anthology mashup that shows all these different time periods, and I'm very grateful that I got to play a character in this movie because it's such a small cast. It's very very selective cast, We have some pretty epic deaths that go on during the film as well. In fact, my character in particular, spoiler alert, I think has one of the most beautiful deaths of all. So keep an eye out for him. And I play Ivar, who is a gigantic Viking warrior with a very deep voice. You know, Ivar.
I was going to ask.
He looks a bit like you, actually. He's got a bald head and a very nice, powerful beard, longer than yours.
Yeah, mine's not very powerful.
Equally gorgeous.
There's nothing.
Well, I mean, you know.
So
it's growing. You're working towards it. When you start doing the modeling like Bo, you'll grow it out a little bit, get it braided up.
Yeah.
Put a few beads in it. Who knows?
Yeah, it'd be nice. Speaking of masculinity, there's a lot of conjecture about a new James Bond. I heard Idris Elba. I've heard everything from Idris Elba to people you like a Robert Pattinson.
Cynthia Erivo, probably. Let's put her in as James
Yeah,
Bond.
right, exactly. And they've nailed it down to one. I think it's probably the safest choice, and I'm excited about it.
The best choice, Henry Cavill. Me and Liv were talking about that. Like, there is no better choice for James Bond for me. Not only that, he's partnering with Chris Nolan, arguably the greatest film director of our generation, and they're doing 3 films together. It's going to be gritty. It's going to be dark. It's going to be masculine. It's going to be old school, like 70s James Bond. I hope they take it back in time. That'd be great. Take it back to like the 60s, 70s, and build up again. I think that'd be the way to go. And I think that Nicholas Hoult, who played Lex Luthor, did like the best job.
Yeah,
he was born. He stole the movie from me. He was the best part because again, he's so talented. His range is so incredible. He goes from Nosferatu to this. And the funny thing is, Nicholas Hoult was up for the Superman role. He was in the final 3 with Cornsweat to play Superman. Yeah, and the story Nicholas Holt's talking about, that he was at his audition. He felt good about his audition. He walked out. He met Cornsweat, and when he met him, he was sitting out in the sun, relaxing on a chair, and he had bigger hands, bigger arms, you know, had the face, had the features, and Nicholas was like, oh yeah, he's probably going to get this.
Yeah, right.
Because he looks the part like dead on.
Right. Sometimes you just know, like,
and that's a big part of it.
Like if they're making a movie about a trucker and the 2 people that are finalists are me and you, I mean, obviously you're going to get it because you look like a fat trucker.
Sure.
You look, no, but you'd be like, all right, he's probably going to get it. Or they're going to have to put on makeup on me and do some things. And if they're going to do something.
Well, kudos to James Gunn for like sticking to the traditional view of Spider-Man. I think that again goes back to when you're changing IP for stories and you try to put a spin on it for, you know, casting different characters or different, you know, race, genders, whatever. It muddies the waters, like who this character was originally born to be. That doesn't mean we can't create new characters that we just compete with this person, but to change the original that everyone grew up on, that's a problem. And that's why this changing of history, you know, repeats itself. It's like everyone's tried to, you know, change what it looked like. But reality of it is like the IP like James Bond, the IP like any of the superheroes, like they're so immersed in culture, they can't just change that. Because then you're going to be affecting other people who, why'd you change it from me? You know, it's just, like you said, the political climate is so intense. And kudos to him for not doing that, because I could have seen it going that direction as well.
What's your honorable mention? Do you have an honorable mention?
Rose from Titanic.
I love you, Jack. Get off my door.
I saw a meme. She goes on a cruise.
Yeah.
Bangs a homeless dude.
Yep. With a caring fiance who's given her the world and a massive diamond, and he just wants to spend time with her not to be a floozy.
Right.
Instead,
with
she's
a homeless dude
gallivanting and getting in the back of cars and steaming them up with Leo.
Right. And then when she's on her little board raft thing, there's plenty of room for Leo, for Jack.
100%.
And he's like, she just lets him go into the ocean.
I'll never let go, Jack.
And he does.
I let go.
Then at the end of the movie, throws that diamond that her fiance got her into the ocean.
Well, and that's it. Like,
it's
heartbreaking,
POS.
really, because not because Jack died, but because in her, like, I guess the last scene of her deathbed or whatever, she's like reminiscing about this one homeless dude she banged one time on a cruise, not the family and her grandchildren and her husband who probably loved her dearly for 70 years. You know, it's like, no, this one dude really, really did it right. You know, really had a good romance with this guy for 17 hours or whatever.
If you're like, your friend, you're like, oh, why are you not with so-and-so anymore? Like, oh, she banged a homeless dude on a cruise.
Right.
I have never served in the military. You know, my grandfather did. I didn't. So it was exciting to get to play characters like that as well, who do things that I have never done and am very unlikely to do. But I also try and embrace a little bit of all of those different characters into my real life, you know, including, like I say, my work with the vets or CQB courses, advanced firearms courses. I really want to become the character, even though I'm only doing maybe a day or two sessions in the booth. I still think it's important as an actor to know who you're portraying.
Right, you get more depth to it. So, for
100%.
I have a million different questions just based on what you said. Is sparked off some different things. I'm trying to think the best way to go forward with it. But I guess
I think you should just ask all 1 million questions, and then I'll systematically go through.
Okay, yeah, and I'll do a long setup like I did for that one about the balls.
Yeah.
So you'll be here a few
10
hours.
minutes sounds for each.
You think Rogan takes 3 hours? This is going to be long. No, but
he takes 3 hours because they all smoke weed on it. That's why.
Exactly.
They're all just like lazy. Halfway through, it's just like, what were we talking about?
Yeah, I know. Every episode has they say it at least 3 times. What are we talking about again? So
yeah, exactly.
I find it fascinating, and you've seen this firsthand with Call of Duty, how some of these video game franchises, when they release a new game, it's like a movie premiere, and then the amount of money that's dumped into not only the production but also purchasing. I can't remember what it was. A Call of Duty that came out one time, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it was like, oh, this first weekend it was released, it made $300 million in sales or whatever.
Oh yeah.
$1 billion.
The games that I was in, Modern Warfare 2019, Call of Duty Mobile, and Warzone 1. This was at the beginning of the pandemic as well. So we had at one point 150 million players worldwide, which is insanity. I think my skin, my Go skin, when it first launched, raised hundreds of millions of dollars on that first day. Hundreds of millions of dollars. I didn't see any of that. I probably got about $7,500 for the whole job. Do you know what I mean? That's like how it works. As I say, you don't do it for the money. You do it for the love of creating these characters and being part of a fantastic.
What are you doing next time you say, I want back end money? So I'll take none for the voiceover. I'll take the back end, and I'll take 1% of the skin money. How about that? Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck getting that deal. If you can get that deal for me, then you can be my agent. But yeah, so it's but I think that the passion of taking on those roles, launching into different characters across the board, that really tap into different parts of me. That's what is exciting for me. Do you know what I mean? It's never about.
It's gonna be wild too that hundreds of millions, and of course there's been millions just from some of your podcast or interview clips, and obviously stand-up comedy clips, millions and millions. But to think that hundreds of millions of people have heard your voice, that's probably kind of hard to compute. There has to be
No, I love it.
Yeah. No, I love it, but how do you even? It's surreal.
Yeah, I don't know. I got used to it now. I think I'm there. Look, there's a hierarchy in every industry, and within the we're not talking about my on-camera work, behind the scenes, in the booth, I should say, as a voice actor. I am definitely now feeling the movement from this is a name some people know, into a place of, this is now an established voice acting talent. I've done enough roles in enough major franchises, including obviously Call of Duty, but Harry Potter, right, Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica, Total War, Warhammer 40,000. Obviously, just now earlier this year, I did Avowed and Throne and Liberty. At the end of this month, I have Hideo Kojima's new game, Death Stranding 2. I'll be in that alongside Norman Reedus and Elle Fanning. So there's like major franchises now, and once you get to that stage that you kind of ticked the box, Street Fighter,
right?
Street Fighter 6.
Yeah.
Once you start doing all these things, fortunately, it's a small enough industry that people go, "Oh, okay, this guy's kind of excelling. He's getting booked on lots of things." And also, my characters are so different. Jack the Ripper on my Netflix series, Record of Ragnarok, or Yelki the Swifting on Ishura on Hulu, or Ivar on the movie on Hulu, Predator Killer of Killers, or Call of Duty, Ghost. These characters sound so different. And that's what's exciting for me about that industry. Unlike on camera, where I can kind of portray, yes, a multitude of different characters, but I'm kind of limited by my physical aesthetic.
Right.
I am a 6'4" guy, so playing a cutesy little nerdy guy, not really the roles I'm picking up on camera. However, in Death Stranding 2, my character is a little nerdy. He is a little sweet and a little soft, and I love that. I love that I get to play something that's not aesthetically at least, me. You know,
Dustin Diamond claimed, he came out with a sex tape. I know you watched it. Screech had a sex tape.
Screech Skeets is the name of it. Screech Skeets. There we go.
Saved by the balls. No. I was trying to get spit tape. Wait. Anyway.
Does he really have a sex tape?
He does.
Have you seen it?
I've seen a clip, and he said,
Yeah, you have.
He said,
It's
you'll
your
never
background
see
on your phone.
You said you'll never see my face and my downstairs in the same shot. He claims he did it for publicity, which I do believe because he was really struggling. And he said he hired a stunt. You know what? He hired like a porn actor to come in to make it look bigger. And so he's not actually he's not having sex with these women in the thing. Look it up.
That's a total
well, I don't know if you can look it up. He told me that at
so Screech was loaded down below is what you're saying. He
in
looks
the
like
video.
a porn star?
But he said it wasn't his though.
Really?
He said you'll never see my face.
We'll make sure in post we'll put a clip below us talking to show what we're
graphically. Don't put a bar on it. Don't censor it. Deja, Wade, and Jen are awesome producers.
Awesome producers.
But
That's
no,
why this looks so good. It's because of them. It's nothing to do with us.
but Denzel, Screech was basically the same. It happens all the time. Dustin Diamond, Denzel,
you know how
confusion.
like depressing it would be, honestly, to be on a show like Saved by the Bell.
I was thinking about those alphas and how like the meme now is.
I heard the thing that was most juiced was their fake wieners.
Yeah.
What were those? What are those
they're
called?
big
Are they
old-
called? What is that character called in that?
Prosthetics.
No, the 28 years. The
Prosthetics.
28 years later.
They're called alphas.
Oh, they are called alphas. Okay.
Alphas. Yeah. They're called alphas. And there was that one specific one who it was so distracting because it was hitting in between his knees.
Yeah. I'm like,
right. I'm thinking this felt a little invasive, like for a zombie to have this dong just run around slapping. He's like, everyone's only be looking at that. No one's looking at with the horror that's happening. It's just like, what in the
we went on a double date to see 28 Years Later, and it was very distracting. Did you hear why they did prosthetics? Did you send that to me?
I may have. I don't.
But the reason they did
Tell
prosthetics
the
is
audience.
because where they were filming, because there were kids on the set, they couldn't have any nude people, any nude adults. But if you do a prosthetic, it was like a workaround. I'm like, it's worse.
So you see these people in this community. There's a teacher. Oh yeah, the blonde. Yeah, she's from Ozark. She's played some movie about missing Anna or something like that, or some sort of mystery thing on Netflix. But she's really great as the teacher. It'll say Bo, and it'll show Bo's perspective for 10 minutes. They'll say Jared. It'll be Jared's perspective in the same story for 10 minutes and how they intersect. And they have like 5 of those different stories, but it's all based their viewpoint of that story. And the way they did that was so creative. You have to see weapons. I don't really like when I was watching. I was like, it's a little slow. And I got all right, stop worrying about it being a little slow.
Yeah.
And then I was like, this is so
pacing didn't
fun.
throw me.
I mean, it's fun. It's creepy. It's spooky. It's there's some funny parts to it. There's a little bit of levity, and you'll see there's a recurring phrase that's said by about everyone in the movie that you're like, yeah. And then some of the scenes you're like, what did I just see?
Dark Wolf is amazing. Taylor Kitsch is now kind of the lead of that, and Pratt's kind of a supporting role.
Gotcha.
It's Navy SEALs. It's elite warfare. It's the badass masculine dudes being dudes and espionage. And they've spared no expense on like the sets, the explosives, everything is so real. So much so that I was listening to Chris Pratt talk about like the detail they went on to make sure that the weapons were exactly right, because people who are actually in that community are very particular, and they have a great eye for, that's not the scope we would use.
Right,
That's
okay.
not the rounds we would use, whatever. And it's funny, I didn't hear that until after I saw season 2, episode 1 of Dark Wolf, because I looked at Liv, and I was like, that's actually the guns they use. It's HK416. It's got this, SOCOM suppressor. It's got all these details. And then I heard Pratt a couple of days later say, oh yeah, we put so much time in this because people recognize that. And you can tell the attention to detail is the polar opposite of highest to lowest. Don't see it.
Initially I was like, I don't know. He's getting nervous because I love Sandler so much. I love Happy Gilmore so much. I'm like, I don't know.
And some of the things he's put on Netflix recently have sucked.
Right.
It's obviously he's just doing this for contract.
He has a contract.
He has to put stuff out every so often, but this felt like his original IP that he was probably very protective over. And he's like, look, I'm going to do this my way, and I'm going to bring all my buddies. I think it was like 72 cameos, I think is what I heard in that movie.
At least.
And it, like you said, it worked. And it's a testament to comedies a lot of times have been dying as of late in this economy, this industry, and how everything has gone politically. So there, a lot of comedies don't do very well. This one, however, stayed away from any of those controversial topics, and it was old school Sandler, and that's what it felt right about it for sure.
Yeah, his daughters are in it, which some people like, nepotism.
Yeah.
But his
wouldn't you do it though? I mean,
absolutely.
I say that. Yeah,
and his mom's in it. The funny thing about Sandler, he said there's been several movies where his mom. I love your drinking glass.
Thanks.
So many movies where she'll have some lines. She kills it like when it's just them two on set. It's so bad he has to cut it. He's like, "Mom, you're not in the movie."
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh," but she made it. She made it into the movie. She was the mom with the tall guy. Remember the tall guy with the nail from the first one? They brought in a former NBA player because that guy had passed away. I thought Happy Gilmore too did a great job of, even if people had passed away, they worked
paying
them
homage to him. Yeah,
you seem to know about being gay.
Because I told you about the prank we did on my dad when we put him up on Craigslist for Hungry Bear needing some loving. If you don't know familiar with this, we filled out a fake Craigslist account for my dad and had him requesting a men-seeking man, and to put his information down, his email. And then my dad's at work. He comes home and he's like, freaked out. He's like, I don't know what's going on. Like, what? He's like, I've gotten like 14 emails of dick pics, and you're like, oh my god. And so me and my brother lost our shit. It was the best prank to this day, and he still won't admit to how good it was, but it was phenomenal.
Yeah, you brought up the other day watching MMA at your house.
Yeah,
and you brought up, and it seemed like he just ignores it. He's like,
he does. He just he's not going to give you the satisfaction to know you nailed him to the wall.
That's a great prank.
And the funny thing is, I swear to God, I've never heard of anyone doing it. Me and my brother were just bored in the summertime. We're like, we know what we should do, because he has a computer. I was like, we should just make him get a bunch of dick pics. So he was in his email
to your dad,
and he doesn't know why is this happening to me.
Right.
He's gone. I'll bring the monologue that we wrote for him one time about what exactly he said. It was pretty.
That's seriously, it's a great prank.
It is a great prank.
I have more scars than you, my friend. A lot more surgery scars, though. Here, we're playing pool at my friend's in high school, and it came down to I didn't have any balls left, and so we're just down to the 8-ball. But it's his shot, and so if he hits this, he wins. And so I was trying to distract him. I was like doing this thing, and I went like this, like down on the pool table, and he didn't. He hit it right then, and when he hit it, the ball actually jumped, which he didn't mean. He didn't mean for it to jump. Hit me straight in my eye and just gushed blood everywhere. Then we're running around to like Harris Teeter trying to find, because we don't want to tell his parents, like a big group of us. And my friend, who's now in the DEA, he got me like a butterfly bandage that I just put on my eye.
You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah. And then I have 6 knee surgeries. I've had 6 knee surgeries, so I have that.
God.
I've had a torn ACL. Actually,
you're like a professional water skier. Why do you have so many knee surgeries?
In high school playing basketball, then high school playing football, and then in South Africa playing basketball. Then I heard it falling down Anna's stairs, helping her clean up one day, and so I have not gotten that repaired, because that'd be my 4th ACL surgery. So I had 3 ACL reconstructions, 3 scopes, arthroscopic, to diagnose it.
Yeah.
And then this scar here, and then I have a scar that goes. I have a Joe Rogan scar.
Okay, let's see it.
You probably can't see it, but I had like a hair transplant. It's kind of the fold. That's where they do it.
Yeah. Is that what that's from?
Yeah, and so it's a terrible story, because people are like, "Oh, what happened to you? Did you have brain surgery? Did you have?" And I'm like, "Oh, I had a hair transplant."
I will tell you,
it's not possible.
As someone who's hosted a morning show for 18 years now, we have interns come in, and I would say 1% of the interns are good. They come in, they're like, "All right, I was here for a week. Do I have a job now?" You're like, "You haven't done anything."
Well, they won't be on the air.
Yeah, which is fine, and they will be like during the internship at some point. But they think that just because they show up a couple of times, that I want to be on the air and I want to make 6 figures, like, you're not going to even work here.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know what that is about the generation, but
the fake,
I think everything's instant, because
well, there's that.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. Like everything we do is instant. Like if your phone slows down for 2 seconds, you don't have enough bars, we're freaking out.
No service. No service.
Or if your Netflix buffers for half a second, we're like,
we sound like such old fuddy-duddies.
You say grandpa?
You do.
You know what I mean?
I don't. I sound very young.
I mean probably
I look
the
young and
previous
sound young.
generations, like those kids in their cars, they're going to be driving everywhere instead of riding the horse and buggy.
Right. But that's
honorable mention? Another honorable mention?
Sure.
Jaws.
That dude's
He's a great bad guy.
He won't leave him alone.
In the first one, really, that was the most, to this day, people have traumatizing events at the ocean because of Jaws.
I still do.
And Two Tones. And that just shifted the world. Like, people now are terrified to go to the beach. Like, cities were having to shut down in the summertime because no one was going right after the movie came out.
You yell shark, we've got a panic on our hands on the 4th of July.
Shark! So it caused like economic damage in some parts of the world.
Right.
That's phenomenal. And he ate so many people.
He ate too many people. He ate a lot of people. And that's the ones they caught on film.
He was 28 feet long, I think is what they said. The Jaws machine, right? So it's all this video said that they went back and forth on 24, 28, or 32. And they said, this one's too big, this one's too small. 28's right about perfect. And that's when they got it. And it was phenomenal. I watched that when I was probably 6.
Same. I don't know.
Dude.
Parents were different then.
Yeah. Well, plus, too, we just flip the TV. Whatever's on is on.
Yeah,
and you flip,
it's the movie of the week.
What's this shark eating someone? You're like, oh my God.
They're like, just leave it on. It's too late.
The damage is done.
They're going to need therapy. I like to end the book because I guess his name's Bruce in the book. Bruce the Shark. Anyway, a little stupid trivia thing. Bruce the Shark. There's 2 Bruce the Sharks, but that's the name of it. But it's one of the bantied about titles of the book, Jaws. Was Leviathan Rising. Leviathan Rising.
That's a cool name.
But
because Leviathan's like a historical mythology beast,
yes.
That lives in the sea. So that would be a cool name.
Yeah, but they're like most people shop at Walmart just like I do. Call it Jaws, and Walmart wasn't a thing then. Kmart then, but Jaws or Sears, probably Sears.
Golly, dude.
70s,
Would you grow up in the
Sears.
40s?
No, I just know things.
Go and get your tires rotated while you get your oil changed for 17 cents.
There's no
not
getting to know each other, running lines, nothing.
Nothing. No, I barely had the lines. And their expectation was like, you're supposed to come and do this. But it was just, the weight was insane. So I told Liv, my wife, I was like, if I can do that, I don't think there'll be a situation ever that it will be that difficult because I was still new. I didn't have the ability to do this at this level this early with this much stress. It's one thing if the director was like, we're here for you. No,
it's like, get it right or you're fired.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
Under 200 people.
In front of 200 people. And
not classy.
And you can tell in the performance, I was a little gun shy. I was a little neutered, as you can see. I'm not my norm. I was like, hi,
would you like to sleep with me?
Please get on top of me.
I would like to go to get a drink. I think this is nice. It's very robotic. And then the director's like, great, we got the words. It's like, that's what we're doing. We're trying to do like a vocabulary. Yeah. We're trying to like Shakespeare here. Like,
I will bite my thumb at them, which is a disgrace to them if they bear it.
You're like, is it about the good performance or is it about the words? Because sometimes those two cannot go hand in hand. You know how music can like ruin the mood like entirely. Like sometimes you're at a party and you get good songs on, and all of a sudden some like just terrible song. It kills the music. It kills the vibe. And people are like, what is going on? Same thing can happen in the bedroom. So let's discuss. Yeah. Have you ever had a song come on in the bedroom? It's like, I got to get up and change that. That's not the right vibe.
I've had our radio station on
while doing it.
Yeah,
at the station. Y'all hear that at the station?
No. At home, and not even thinking that it was on.
You're listening to yourself music, like, man, I love this.
Then all of a sudden, somebody I know, Tripper, who's our night guy, is like, hey, it's Tripper in the Freak Show, and I'm like, oh, that ruined it, because I know him. You know what I'm saying? It's like he's in my bedroom now.
I can see that.
That was bad. So now it's all.
I can see that. I mean, if my phone's on shuffle like Spotify, there's no telling what's going to come up, and so sometimes it's like, I need to change.
Do you have a go-to
playlist? I do actually.
I mean, that you tell or you have one already. You have one actually made.
Yes.
Oh wow!
I'm not joking. I'll tell you.
While you're looking it up, I always just say at that time I would say play 2000s R&B.
Oh,
like Alexa, play 2000s R&B. Sorry if you're listening.
And here comes like Ja Rule coming in.
Every once in a while, it will.
Tries to sneak one in on you.
It will be a Nelly rap song. Like, I don't know, this is not one thing.
So mine is a lot of Steven Sanchez.
Don't know who that is.
Dude, yes you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Don't play it because we have to pay for it.
I did for a second. No, Steven said Teddy Swims. You met Teddy Swims.
I love Teddy Swims.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So like a lot of that
kind
song
of stuff. Bet on Fire.
Yeah. So it's a lot of some Sabrina Carpenter. I love me some Sap Car. Love Sabrina Carpenter. Her new album came out, by the way.
We're talking to
Slay Queen.
Deja. And he was trying to fight that he wasn't more gay than me.
I love Sap Car. If you knew my wife, you'd understand because my wife
don't
looks
blame her.
and acts just like Sabrina Carpenter.
You know who I've met before? Sabrina Carpenter, and she was super nice.
Well, she was like 4.
She was.
That doesn't count. She wasn't famous.
She was 17, and I remember Jason's like, "Oh, that I work with, like, she's hot," and then somebody's like, "She's
Lock
17."
him up
He's
immediately.
like, he was like, "Oh, she's like talented."
Oh, yeah.
Because he's like, "No, but she will be. She's very talented."
So you said you named 4 characters just now, I believe. 4 very diverse characters. I have to ask you, can you do a little bit of each character?
Sure. Yeah. So we have so Jack the Ripper. If in Record of Ragnarok, the whole premise of the show is this is a Japanese anime that's dubbed over in the US, and effectively with fighting, human characters go up against gods and demigods to fight for the right for humanity to survive. And he's twisted. Jack the Ripper is quite a flamboyant chap, and I say, mind a cup of tea before I rip your insides from your guts. He's quite a crazy chap. Maybe I could be a Joker one day in the future. I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously Ghost from Call of Duty, that channels a certain part of myself. He's very much where I get angry. So me as Jeff Leach, when I get angry, I get gritty. I get vocal, quite bassy in my vocal nature. But this man, he's not angry necessarily, but he's getting the job done. So I sort of exist in that anger place of myself. So he's got a nice, raspy, gritty voice.
Love it.
Ivar from Predator Killer Killers. Obviously, Ivar. He's very, he's got this kind of deep Viking voice, Ivar. So I do a lot of like gritty characters as well. But I also enjoy doing. I did Peeves. Peeves was the ghost in Harry Potter that the Harry and his team kind of engaged with. And Peeves is crazy. He's quite a character. He's up here. He's flamboyant. He's very old and slightly twisted. And then in other games I played wizards. Like Throne of Liberty, I got to play. In Throne of Liberty, I got to play this amazing character called Kamir, or who was also called Canary, who's like a thief, one of the heads of the thief guild, who kind of gives you various missions. And Canaries, he's a Scotsman, he's a wee dwarf, and he's absolutely insane. So he'll give you a wee drink, but then he might take your front teeth as well. So I love doing accents. I love doing these characters.
Bravo,
it makes me excited.
Yeah, and it was just, he's like, "Hey man, I told you," and he's just everything. He's made graphics, or his team has made graphics for our podcast. I mean, he's kept his word. I give him credit.
When you said you had him, I was like, dude, that's a scam. That's not
you told me
real.
don't believe
I was
it.
like, I don't believe that. But then when he called, he's like, "Hey Bo, how you doing?" I'm like, "Oh Joe, I'm doing great. How are you?" He's like, "Ah, well, there's another day in prison." Whatever. I was like, God.
And we're just like, did that just happen?
Yeah.
Like, that just happened.
That's crazy.
With you being in the industry as an actor and behind a producer and all these different things you've done and are doing, do you think that the studio has such confidence in James Gunn, the director who has done a lot of things, including Guardians of the Galaxy movies, at least one of them, and that they were like, we don't need a name for Superman. We can bring a guy who's good. He was great. I still don't even know his name, but he was great as Superman.
Corn Sweat is his last name. Corn Sweat.
And I did read
Tyler Corn Sweat, something like that.
Corn Sweat, right? Yeah. But they weren't like, oh, we have to get like a Zac Efron or a Robert Downey Jr. or maybe Jr. would be too old. I was thinking of a younger guy. This is probably like a terrible example of Zac Efron. But you know what I mean? They're like, we don't need an A-list star. We can just get somebody that's unfamiliar, but we know this director's going to nail it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's such a strong IP. Superman is almost not mess upable. However, I will say Henry Cavill is the Superman to me. He still crushes because he had that aura about him.
Yeah.
Corn Sweat, he's great. He's good. He's more human, which some people like that. Some people want more human because if you watch the movie compared to like the old comics, it's kind of like that where they got the Speedo on him. He's more like old school. He's not quite so dark and brooding like Henry Cavill. So Zack Snyder's, his Supermans, I love even more because he didn't come in nerfed. He came in, the boss, and he didn't have the Speedo on. I like that probably better, but I understand why this movie is doing so well because it is just like the old school comic book movies, comic books that kids used to read in the 80s, 90s. And so it was like that kind of encapsulated, even from the 60s, back when my man got paralyzed, before he got paralyzed. What's his name?
Oh, Christopher Reeves.
Christopher Reeves, yeah. Blank on his name.
It wasn't the 60s, it was 80s. Well, late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a very strong IP.
It is.
So I think when that's the case, studios are more apt sometimes to take someone like a Rachel Zegler, for example, Snow White. Same thing. It's like they didn't go for a massive star because they had such strong IP. That one bombed. This one's doing well. I mean, this one had like $250 million budget. I think it's almost recouped all of that in the first week.
Now, Austin Butler, your favorite actor, you said it off the pod. You made some of those roles
only because I will quote my man Denzel. Some actors tend to get the frequency that they need to be precious about things.
Yeah.
And in this comes this lure of method acting, which all it is you stay in character between takes and sometimes in your trailer at home until the shoot's done. Could be accents, could be whatever. Daniel Day-Lewis, he'll go and sleep in the woods for months to prepare for Last of the Mohicans. That's what he did. And he only ate what he hunted and killed with a musket.
I didn't know that.
Yes, it's insane. So you can, but it's his process. But even him himself says, whatever gets you to that point that you're performing great, do it. Fantastic. Austin Butler, with this whole Elvis thing. I couldn't unhear it, and I couldn't get over it because it was not just in the month after with doing interviews for Elvis or the year after or 2 years after. It was a continuous thing where you can tell when people lower their voice manually. It's like, I could. It sounds artificial, right? So when I'm seeing someone trying to portray real things happening, and I can instantly tell you're being artificial with your voice, not just an accent, but a pretentious masculine driving your voice deeper to sound more intimidating. Zac Efron does this sometimes because you can catch him in films. The same with him, and I couldn't get behind it. I saw Caught Stealing. Mm-hmm. I was floored. He was great. Amazing. He redeemed himself as far as I'm concerned. He is a phenomenal actor. Phenomenal. And he had a little bit of Elvis, but it was gone for the most part. And
I still had a little Elvis to him.
A little bit, yeah. He still hasn't shaken. He's like, see it? He's going therapy and speech therapist to get rid of it.
Well, Jim Jeffries, you might not be familiar. I know you love stand-up, but Jim Jeffries, he's Australian. You've definitely seen him. He's had a lot of specials. He sells out like arenas. But he has the most recent Netflix special called Two Limb Policy, which basically he will meet you after the show if you are missing 2 limbs. I mean, it basically says you have 2. It's somebody in his family, I believe, was disabled. And so then he said, no, I always will meet anybody. But he said, but disabilities could be, not that you have to be missing limbs, but maybe you are missing a limb, but then you also have some disease or disorder. He'll meet you. Okay. But anyway, that's why it's called Two Limb Policy, which I thought was interesting. But he has a joke in there about Austin Butler, and he's like, "Really? You're still doing Elvis? You can't shake Elvis 2 years later." Yeah. And they said a reporter said, "Hey, you're still talking." He's like, "I am. It's just hard to shake." And he goes, "Yeah, really interesting." He said, "Have you seen the show Dahmer on Monsters?" Yeah. He said, "Who's that actor?" He said, "I don't even know the actor's name. He's so good."
Evan Peters.
Evan Peters
is amazing. Yeah. Everything. I am a big fan of his.
Evan Peters is tremendous.
Phenomenal.
And even Jim Jeffries, I don't know the bloke's name. He goes, but after Dahmer, he shook that character pretty quick. And I was like, good point. You're trying to be sexy with Elvis or whatever.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I don't know. Maybe he got in his head. I don't know. But it seems odd.
But again, even for 2 years, let's say you were Elvis and you stayed in Elvis's character and you went to your hotel room and you wrote Elvis songs and you channeled Elvis. I hear all these crazy theories about that. You need to stop. Afterwards, you just need to stop because now it's devaluing what you did in the movie.
Yeah, because it's like, he can't even. Yeah,
you replace because if you just do it in a movie and then you stop afterwards, you can actually that was so talented that he can actually go there, do that, and then get out.
Right.
But to go there and stay there, it's like an attention grab thing. And that's what it feels like. It feels artificial.
It does. Yeah, genuine.
It feels not genuine. Yeah, that's what it is. And I can't stand that. And so to see that.
Like you said, with great actors, Anthony Hopkins. Yeah. We may have talked about this before, just as friends or whatever. But people on the set of Silence of the Lambs said that it was just incredible. He talked to Chris Rock said, not on Silence of the Lambs, but some other movie he was in. He said they're talking about girls, and as soon as the camera. Or women, and as soon as the camera started rolling, it's like he just turned a switch.
His eyes changed.
They said Silence of the Lambs. Yep, his eyes changed, and he became Hannibal Lecter. He's like, nice Anthony Hopkins, and they're like, action or whatever they say.
Yeah.
And it's just his eyes change,
Yeah.
and then when it's over, he's right back
Like
to
a
it.
shark,
Like
yeah.
he's
Well,
that talented.
That's what I was going with Denzel earlier. Was that Denzel said, "Stop all that precious nonsense.
Yes.
Stop all this it's the hardest job in the world, whatever. No, hard job is getting shot in the face in the Middle East. That's a
Right.
hard job. Like stop." And this is Denzel saying this at a round table with a bunch of other actors, like
Right.
a bunch of self-precious actors from
Right,
some of their work. You can
pretentious,
tell,
yeah.
yeah. And so to hear him say, I was like, come from him. Again, he has all the credibility in the world, even if he didn't make a stinker. To say something like that, I completely agree because people are too pretentious anyway. We gotta go.
Yeah, we gotta roll.
We're done. We've done too much of this.
We've done
already.
way too much. That's blows. That's spit on the table.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yes, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and we're on every social media platform.
Yes. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good day, sir.
Good day, sir.
Our improv game is
play
strong.
that game?
No, I don't. I'm not
Okay,
trying to
then
play
let
any
go.
games. I'm trying to be firm.
That's what she said. Wait.